SJ. I'm currently choosing a baby name for baby number 3, and I really want a kind of unique and unusual name, and ideally with a nature theme. My surname actually is already kind of a nature theme, so Strum means heather, and Strum means stream or water. Is a Swedish surname, so it'd be really nice to kind of have a first name that really complemented that. But my husband has vetoed a lot of nature names. It can't be anything too hippie, too weird, too feminine for a boy. So these are the names that I think meet that brief. Please let me know what you think of them and help me choose. So I will go through my top 10 for boys and my top 10 for girls. So for boys, I love the name OAKLEY. OAKLEY is kind of rising in popularity. I see it quite a lot on Instagram with some of the cool mums that I followed. It's actually number 743 in terms of popularity in the UK at the moment, according to kind of Baby Centre. It means clearing by an oak tree. So it's got that really kind of lovely nature meaning, but doesn't sound too girly. It's a really masculine, cool name. I think if you were going to shorten it, you'd probably say oak, which sounds really, really cool. So I really, really like it. Some people think of the sunglasses brand, so let me know if that was what immediately popped into your mind. The second nature theme name for boys is Roscoe. Roscoe actually means from the deer forest, but it sounds like one of those really cool surnames for first names, but I love that it's got this different type of meaning. I love the deer forest theme. I can imagine doing a whole deer themed nursery for the baby, and it's just a really, really trendy and modern name as well. Next up is Heath. Heath means open land, obviously made very mainstream by Heath Ledger, so people will understand and know this name, but it's got a very romantic kind of connotation with Heathcliff as well, so a great one for a nature themed boy name. Next up is SAWYER. SAWYER means to cut wood or to cut timber. It is actually in the top 500. It's at number 271 for baby girls in terms of popularity on Baby Centre, which I don't think is actually who's named their children that. I think it's a sort of a popularity ranking. I really like this name. I think it sounds kind of modern and up to date. I think there was a character called Sawyer on Lost. I didn't really watch that show, so for me it kind of means kind of quite handsome, quite rugged, but has that really nice nature meaning to it. I love the name Elwood. Elwood sounds like an old 1940s American name. I think it was one of the Blues Brothers, but it actually means from the old forest and is an old English name. So I really like it. I prefer it to kind of woody. It sounds a little bit more unusual. And Mark Owen has a baby called Elwood. So if you were an old Take That fan like me, it's kind of funny to have the same name as him. Next up is Digby. One of my best friends has a little boy called Digby, and as soon as I heard it, I absolutely loved it, and so does everyone else I mention it to. It actually means farm by a ditch, so it kind of is very British, very English. If you live in the countryside, it's a great choice, but just is a really cute and characterful name as well for a little boy that would serve him well throughout his whole life, I think. Next up is a more unusual one, but I'm really liking the name Harbour. I think if you live by the water or love boats, it could mean a lot to you and your family to have a little baby called Harbour. It's at number 8,740 in terms of popularity, so you're not going to be finding many harbours about the town, but it's really, really nice. It's not unusual in terms of you can spell it easily and pronounce it easily, but Harbour also has that water theme, but that kind of safety and warmth to it as well, like when you come into a harbour. So I think it's a really, really gorgeous one. I love the name Hudson. Hudson is actually not a nature name, but I always think of the River Hudson in New York when I hear it. So it's got that kind of slightly trendy, modern American vibe going for it, which I really, really like. And imagine the trips to New York that you'd have to take in honour of baby Hudson. It actually means son of the hooded man. So if your husband wears a lot of hoodies, it's a good one as well. Efron is next. Efron is not just Zac Efron's last name, it actually means young stag. So again, has a really, really lovely name. And some websites actually it means bird, so I'm not too sure which it is. If anyone knows, let me know. But I think it's a really cool name. It sounds really unusual. I've not heard any Efrons. I was thinking if you were going to give it a nickname, you'd probably say Ronnie, which I also think is really, really sweet for a little boy, but a really trendy name to grow up with. And last up is Beresford. Beresford actually means ford near where barley grows, so it's an old English name. I work with Beresford and we all call him Berry, which is again a very nature-themed name. But you know, it's a really creative type of name. It's a really cool, it kind of sounds a bit jazzy to me, but has that lovely English nature meaning to it. So Beresford is definitely up there on the top 10. So going on to girl names, I don't know if I'm having a boy or a girl. One of these is a definite name for me, so see if you can spot which one that is by my face. But these are all girl names. I've avoided flower names. These are sort of nature in theme and not too fluffy, so that they won't kind of, you know, be taken seriously. And also some nature names are slightly sort of sensual, so I've kind of avoided those, I hope. So up first is Marlowe. I love the name Marlowe. It means hill by a lake, so it just pictures to me like lovely holidays by a lake somewhere really out in nature, but just sounds such a pretty name. Sienna Miller actually has a daughter called Marlowe, but there were only 220 girls called Marlowe in the US last year, so it's not one of those that's kind of really burst onto the mainstream just yet. So it's a really great choice if we're looking for something unique. Next up is Blossom. I'm not allowed flower names, but I'm kind of hoping that Blossom might sneak in there. I think it is so pretty. I do remember the old TV show from growing up as well, but Blossom just to me just is so gorgeous, and I think about, you know, that whole idea of blooming and wellness, which is super nice for a baby girl. Or Clover. Clover actually means wild flower, and I think it's really pretty name. It's not too unusual. It sounds just really gorgeous and a bit different from kind of poppy, daisy or lily and all of those. If you've already got lots of those in your friendship circle or in your local area, it can be a little bit different and a bit more special. Brooke is a really lovely name for either a boy or a girl, but I really like it for a girl. It actually means English dream. It can sound quite American because we kind of know like Brooke Shields and the American kind of socialite scene, but it's really gorgeous. And if you can imagine like these old English brooks and little quaint Cotswold villages, when I think of it, that's kind of what comes to mind for me. So I think it's really pretty. Brier is a lovely nature-themed name. Sleeping Beauty was actually called Brier Rose in the original Grimm Brothers fairy tale. And Brier kind of means shrub. It was kind of the shrub surrounding Sleeping Beauty. And then Rose, she was kind of the rose in the middle. But I think that Brier just sounds really unusual. If you've got the name Rose, it's really become popular. It could be slightly different, but has that lovely little princess type of meaning as well. I love Willow. Willow is actually already number 41 in terms of popularity. It's up 10 since last year. So it's becoming much more mainstream, but if we're looking for a nature name that isn't kind of flower-based, more tree-based, Willow is a gorgeous one. Another lovely tree one is Aspen. Aspen is a different type of tree, and I think this is so cool for a girl. Imagine how like cool you'd have to be called Aspen. I can imagine somebody just really outdoorsy, really loving adventures and being like kind of a real go-getter with this type of name. And it's slightly more unusual, but absolutely feminine and gorgeous at the same time. Next up is Liberty. Liberty isn't technically a nature name, I know, but you know, that kind of freedom and that outdoors feel that kind of comes with it. I think it does make it feel very nature in theme. I absolutely love this name. Every time I see it, I just kind of makes me smile, and I just kind of think, oh, that's so pretty. You don't hear it very often. I guess it sounds slightly American with the Statue of Liberty, but I just think as a meaning of a name, it's gorgeous. And I guess Libby would be the kind of nickname for it, which is also really cute. I love L sounding names. I probably picked tons of them on this list. And next is Eden. Eden is actually the name of my goddaughter, and it means delight, which is lovely as in meaning, but obviously we think of the Garden of Eden and all of those kind of nature outdoorsy cues. Eden can also be a boy's name. I'd think of it as a girl because of my goddaughter, but she's like 9 now. There's not many other Edens around. I think it is so pretty, and it just suits a kind of girl who's going to be really kind of a festival goer. She's going to be really like into nature and outdoorsy and have a great spirit about her. So it's a beautiful name. And last up is Seren. Seren actually means star. It's a Welsh name, so it's really popular in Wales. I think it was kind of in the top 5 back in 2010. I couldn't find more recent data on how popular it is, but I really like it, and it's also really popular in the Middle East, so it's got that kind of adventurous spirit to it as well. I think it's really nice if you've got a Sarah in your family. Seren sounds really similar. And it's a little bit more unusual than, say, Stella or some of those other star names. I think it sounds much softer and really pretty. So those are my top 10 for boys and top 10 for girls nature-themed names. I would love to know if you've got any others, or what you think of those and what I should pick for this little baby who's coming along, or if you think they're all awful. I'm going to do another theme of names next week, looking at kind of rock and roll names, because that's another kind of thing we're looking at. But I would love to have your opinions. Add all your baby names, please. I need suggestions. We don't know if it's a boy or a girl. We're due on Christmas Eve 2016. Thanks so much for watching. If you've enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. I'd really appreciate it. And you can subscribe to my channel by clicking the little red button and follow me on my pregnancy journey. Thanks for watching.